had that really bad get-off when he went over the bars about a quarter of the way through the first lap. Now, here he is, Jimmy Dakotas running fourth here at his home race.
Well, a lot of people forget about Dakotas. Last year was his rookie pro season, and then he missed the first 8 races this year with an injury, so he's pretty new to the scene as well. Here comes Swanepoel, your first moto winner. He is in 5th. Solid performance.
Yeah, and Swanepoel is going to have some company because Justin Bogle.
Swanepoel goes down. So Bogle going to move into the top 5 again.
Bogle is flying, Rattray is flying. Basically, everyone else inside the top 6 or 7 is at about a 217.
And Jason Anderson temporarily made the pass on the 156, but then Swanepoel got him back. Signs of life here the last few weeks from Anderson, who has had a very rough rookie campaign. Starting to turn it around here with some top 10 at least speed. It's a tough time finishing the races. Here he is going to work on Swanepoel around the outside.
And 1 lap ago, here we go.
Not going to back off either one of them.
1 lap ago, Anderson is 10th. Comes across the stripe at 8th, almost 7th. So Anderson almost picking up 4 spots in 1 lap. Jason Anderson is totally on the gas.
And he's got one of his teammates right with him. That's the 71 of Morris on that Rockstar Suzuki. Anderson was your AMA Horizon Award winner. That's the award the AMA gives out at the end of the amateur season to the rider they believe has the most promise as a pro. Bogle's the one that got that award this year, has already made an impact. Anderson's still waiting for his moment. Getting better here as he goes after Swanepoel. And Swanepoel had a crash, got back up. How difficult is that to do in the rain, the mud, the sand? Is the bike slippery? Your hands get mud on them? What happens?
Yeah, a little bit of all that, but the main thing is what's happening inside of his head right now is that, you know, the gremlins start to creep in and negative thoughts, and he's got to keep focused right now, keep trying to work his way forward, try to get his first overall. He's got the first moto win, but you know, those negative thoughts just creep their way in there, and the best guys have the ability to limit that, to fight off those negative thoughts.
Well, to give you an idea for Anderson, who's having such a tough summer, his team actually sent him home and said, go home and train for a month. You said it many times, you can't gain fitness in 5 days. If you go hard during the week between races, you're only going to make things worse. You'll be tired for the race. So they sent him home, put a baseline training program in, and he has been stronger ever since. Get those negative thoughts out of there. Here is the 71 of Morris, who unfortunately has missed a lot of outdoor races the last couple of years with injuries. So good to see him back in the top 10. Ryan Sipes will round out the top 10. Dr. Seuss National Memorial Sculpture Garden not far from us here at Southwick. Of course, this one we had better weather yesterday. Real nice part of the country to come visit. Hopefully we'll have better weather on race day next year and you can come visit us. Here's your leader, Tyler Rattray, beginning to pull away just a bit here in this second moto at Southwick, Massachusetts. Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross National. Already the roughest track of the year because it's covered in sand, has gotten even tougher because Hurricane Irene has begun to become a factor in motocross. I don't know which rider she's a fan of, but she seems to be helping Tyler Rattray because the rougher the track conditions, the better it is for this guy as he is marching away from the field. We're about halfway through this one.
Well, I tell you, Rattray won his first moto here a couple of years ago, won his first overall here last year. And I know as a rider, I always look forward to coming back to those tracks where you had won at and you get the good vibrations going. But let's take a look at some replays.
Jimmy Dakotas, who is running and challenging for a podium, goes down, lost a few spots. That's a 71 of Morris right with him. So now he is in 8th after running in 4th. So that'll bump Bogle up to the number 4 position as Rattray continues to lead. His lead is 5 seconds over Alex Martin. So that's still an impressive run for Martin, who's in 2nd. I mean, to beat Rattray on this track is a tall order. For Martin, you put the privateer bike up on the podium, doing something right.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's about 5 seconds ahead of Wilson right now, who's in 3rd. Bogle's moved up to 4th. Swanepoel's still in 5th.
And a lot of credit for that 11-10 mods privateer Honda team has gone to Darren Durham, who is running in 12th right now, but Martin might better Durham's best finish of the year. Meanwhile, Aaron has a very unhappy, I'm sure, Ryan Sipes down in the pits. Aaron?
That's right, you guys. Blood sugar levels are not Ryan Sipes' only problem at this time. Ryan, can you take us through what went on out there and why you're in the pit right now?
I don't know, something's messing my stomach about the view.
It could be the possibility that everybody down here is eating facefuls of sand. He's not the only guy that we've seen throw up today, so I think we're going to give him a moment.
Well, it's a bad position to be in right there because it's so physically demanding, you know, and obviously he's got something going on, you know, with his health that they do not have figured out. He's missed some races this year because of it.
Yeah, it could just be face full of sand, though, like Aaron was saying.
I'm going to get off that shot just in case he actually, you know,
Yeah,
does.
back to something here
Put some sand back on the track. I guess is what he's looking to do.
Well, Rattray, man, was so close to winning Moto 1, but he's going to back it up here if he can finish off 13 minutes plus 2 laps. But you can see he's riding the track effortlessly. He is doing everything right. And riders, when they come here to Southwick, everybody talks about flow. Now, what is flow? That's when you're hitting your lines, when you're not using a lot of energy, you're keeping your momentum up. Alex Martin is doing the same thing. This could be his best career moto finish.
Yeah.
If he can stay in second place.
And what's impressive, I mentioned before that Darren Durham has really been the star for that team, but the best finish Durham has had this year is a 4th. So Durham could be the one, or sorry, Martin could be the one to deliver that bike to the podium, but a long way to go. You got Dean Wilson in 3rd, and this has been Wilson's MO this year. He has just been solid moto after moto. He has only finished off the podium in 2 motos this year. And in contrast, did a little research, the Racer X bench race ammo last year, champion of the 250 class, Trey Kennard, missed the podium in 10 out of 24 motos. This year so far, Wilson has only missed the podium twice. He is like all-time level consistency right now.
Yeah, he's coming into this event, he had 7 moto wins and only 1 overall. But he did have an average moto finish of 2.28,
wow,
which is pretty good. And the next best was Baggett with a 3.3, but Baggett's had 2 bad motos here today.
Let's talk about this kid, Bogle, backing it up. Tough performance in Moto 1, but it is no fluke, apparently, his speed as he is strong here 4th in Moto 2. Aaron, what do you hear on the 891?
I asked him this morning what it was like to get the nerves shaken off of making his pro debut at Unadilla, and he said he doesn't feel like a lost little kid looking for his mom today. He says he knows where he needs to go, he knows where he needs to be, he knows what's happening, and on race day it's important to know when to eat and when to drink, but the biggest thing is trying to stay calm, stay focused on an upset stomach and get through all the nervousness. He said this weekend he is able to focus a lot easier than he was at Unadilla.
Wow, that's interesting, you know, him mentioning knowing when to eat and when to drink. And I know that midway through my career, I figured out what worked best for me, okay? And it took a while to get to.
It was not eating, wasn't it? It was not eating.
Actually, I did not like to eat. I had everything blended, everything liquid after I eat breakfast. So I'm telling you, I got the magic recipe.
You know, Bogle's got an experienced hand helping him, though. Robbie Rayner, fellow Oklahoman, is here helping out Bogle today and pushing him into the top 5. We'll be right back. And race ready. Battle is on here for the number 2 spot. Alex Martin on the red bike and the green of Dean Wilson are swapping right now. Wilson has closed the gap on Martin, but I'll tell you what, Alex Martin's 2nd, 3rd, probably doesn't matter. It'd be his first career podium, the first podium finish ever for his team. Just try to keep that thing going. Don't get caught up too much in this battle with Wilson.
Yeah, he's putting in a fine ride, but let's take a look at Dean Wilson's bike here. There's a little bit of steam coming off of that bike.
Wait a minute.
And that is not, to me, it does not look like a situation where he went through a water hole and it hit the exhaust pipe. That is specifically coming out of the one of the overflow tubes, either out of the engine or off of the radiator. That could be a problem as this moto continues.
Wow, and we have seen riders, especially on this monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki team, have mechanical problems at this track. Explain how the sand, especially when it's muddy, puts more of a strain on the engine.
Well, it puts a huge load on the engine, and so the engine has to work so much harder. So it's harder on the engine, you know, when you're setting the bike up and you're trying to get the maximum horsepower out of it. So it's harder on the piston and the valves and all that stuff. It's also tough on the clutches because you're slipping the clutches and it's really the clutches are having a hard time staying together.
Oh boy, Aaron, you hearing anything on the Pro Circuit team with Wilson right now?
Not at the moment am I hearing anything, but this morning I was informed that they are running bigger radiators and bigger gas tanks because this track is so deep. it means they're trying to keep the bike cool. They're always on the gas. It's always running hot. So we could see an effect from that. But right now, Mitch Payton and the rest of the team are looking on, trying to figure out exactly what's taking place.
Yeah, they're trying to take precautions. So far, so good, though, for Wilson, who's actually just passed Martin to take over second, but the steam is beginning to build.
Yeah, that's definitely overflow out of the radiator. Like she mentioned, they put extra large radiators for more volume of coolant, trying to keep the engine clean because it heats up, because it's constantly, you're on the throttle, okay? So the engine's gonna naturally heat up more. Now, with the sand and the mud and the conditions, sand gets in the radiator louvers, okay, so it doesn't flow as much air through the radiator, so it doesn't cool the coolant as properly as it should. So 6 minutes plus 2 laps for your points leader.
Let's give you the progressive whole shot replay, Jeff. Take us through the start.
Wow, look all the way to the left. There's riders that are just getting cut off instantly, but it's a couple of Kawasaki riders. As it looks like Wilson looks like he's going to be able to get on the brakes, and then Rattray sneaks by on the inside. Martin, Geico, Honda rider there on the outside, and the rest of the guys.
Yeah, Martin able to control and really use turn 2 to establish himself in the lead. Has now dropped back to third, but for how long? How long can Dean Wilson's bike in second continue to run? Now, the man closest to Wilson in the point standings was Blake Baggett coming into this one. But Baggett finished 9th in Moto 1, and he is in 9th here in Moto 2. So even if Wilson were to not even finish this thing, he could still maintain the lead. But you do not want to give up chunks of points like this. You'd score 22 points if you finish second. There's a mechanic, Paul Parabinos, got to be concerned right now. Now, Jeff, what would happen? Would we actually stop seeing steam come out if all the coolant water is gone? Would we stop seeing steam first? Is that a bad sign?
Yeah, when we don't see any of that white steam coming out the bottom of this Kawasaki right here, that's going to be a bad sign. But, I mean, I have been really surprised at how long these 4-stroke engines can run without coolant in those overheating situations, as opposed to a 2-stroke, which will seize pretty quickly when it doesn't have the coolant. But, of course, we haven't ran the 2-strokes in a number of years.
Yeah, so we flash back to 2009 when Christophe Pourcel had a similar situation to his bike. Aaron, what do you got?
We just watched Paul Parabinos, Dean Wilson's mechanic, hold out the pitboard sign saying save bike to inform him that the bike isn't running correctly, because at this point they don't know if Dean is aware or not. This isn't the first time that Pro Circuit has run into complications or mechanicals here, so they're trying to keep their eye on it.
That is a great point.
Yeah, he just looked down
but you
right
don't
now.
see that necessarily, huh?
Yeah, but I just don't see how there's just certain, you know, okay, going up this hill right here, you have to get on the throttle. Okay, so maybe you're going to coast a little bit here. And maybe you're not maxing it out and you're not over-revving it, but let's take a look right here, this replay. Now watch him look down right now. He's going to look down to see if he can see some steam or some smoke, to try to understand the message that his mechanic Paul put on the pit board. So
probably just saw nothing but the top of the seat in his gas tank, so he might not know.
And right now he's not seeing any steam either, Jason.
Uh-oh, which is a bad sign, right? Is that what's established?
In my book.
Okay.
Yep, I would say that that'll not be good. So we're at 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps. The real sign is going to be if the bike starts to slow down, and you'll know it instantly because he'll start looking down and looking around, and there's just nothing he can do except hope for the best and try to ride the bike as gingerly as possible to the finish. But there's, you know, certain sections right here you have to get on the throttle, you know.
And Martin is still running in third, Bogle fourth, Swanepoel in fifth, and Baggett still in ninth. There's your championship points right now. You see Wilson has a huge lead. Rattray overcoming Baggett by virtue of a good first moto and by running strong right now. So Baggett an off day at the worst time. If Baggett was merely on the podium in these motos, he could have been right back in this championship hunt if Wilson has trouble, but that's not the case. Baggett not able to rally. He's still in ninth.
Yeah, but let me play the devil's advocate here. If Wilson's bike does not finish and Rattray wins this, 25-point swing, depending on where Wilson finishes, because it could be inside the top 20 with this great ride. Take your championship points lead down to 13, and all of a sudden, all 3 riders are back in it.
Yeah, you're right, because basically it would be a do-over, because at our last race, Wilson won the second moto. Rattray crashed out. Wilson made up all the points on him.